Welcome back to another video tutorial brought to you by thevirtualinstructor.com. This is actually a video I did years ago, and I'm going to add a narration over the top of that. Today we're going to be dealing with painting portraits, specifically oil portraits. This is a two-part video. First thing you want to do when you do a portrait is think about your head position. And remember that every facial feature has its place. I'd recommend you watch the video tutorial on drawing faces. And once you kind of master drawing faces, you get a drawing that looks like the person you're going to paint, and then we're ready to start painting. Now, just so you know, I'm using a bristle brush for this, and I'm using some of my favorite oil paint, which is Georgian. I've made a skin tone. All skin tones are mixed with red, yellow, brown, and white. That's how you make your skin tone right. That's a good way to remember that. By adding black to a color, or brown, you get a darker value, and by adding white, you get a lighter value. So you're going to see throughout this video I'm adding some white to some areas, and I'm probably going to be adding brown instead of black to some areas to darken it up. So first thing I do basically is block in the majority of the face. I kind of am careful as I'm doing this that I don't obscure too many of my details. So I'm painting loosely, but I'm also being a little bit careful of what I'm doing. I'm not trying to cover up too many of my lines. Now, a lot of painters use underpaintings, and I also use underpaintings from time to time, but for this portrait I'm just going right into it, kind of painting a base color for my skin tone, and you'll see as the video progresses I kind of build up the value in different areas instead of doing an underpainting. So once you've got everything covered to begin with, you can go ahead and start adding some of the color. And since we're using oil paint, I can put the color right on the surface and kind of blend and move it around with my brush. Also, I'm using linseed oil to aid the viscosity of the paint. And you can see that red's blending in a little bit. Then I'm going to go in and add a little bit of brown to start building up the shadowed area. I'm also going to do that where the eyebrows are. Just kind of, it's almost like you put the color down, you kind of pull in the paint out, or pulling the image out rather. So as you're working on your painting, you kind of look at your material. In this case I'm working from a photograph. You look at your material and you look at where it's dark and where it's light, and you add it to your painting. It's kind of going back and forth between what's dark and what's light. Now when I do the eyes and the mouth and the nose, you'll see that I kind of go with the darker areas first and then build the lighter areas on top of that. That's another way that some people choose to work from dark to light. So in this painting, in a few areas, I'm working from darker values to lighter values. What's so great about oil paint is the paint is kind of a buttery consistency, and it's very easy to mix and blend your colors. Also, the paint stays wetter for a longer period of time, so you can really work those areas until you get a consistency or value that you like. Alright, I'm going in and doing the lips now and putting some of the lighter values around the lips, and you can see I've highlighted those lips a little bit. And the chin is starting to look a little bit more three-dimensional. So again, like I said before, I'm just going in and putting some of the highlighted areas and putting some of the shadowed areas in, and as I work, the painting becomes more three-dimensional. Put a little bit of value underneath the neck to make the neck look like it stands out a little bit. And just going to put that darker value in and then kind of blend it in and smooth it around. Oil painting is a little bit like, in my opinion, like working with clay. You might start with a big old wad of clay at the beginning, and the more you work it, the more you move things around, the more things start to look like whatever you're trying to build, whether it's a non-objective sculpture, whether it's something that's representational. Same thing's true with an oil paint. It kind of starts off a little bit messy, and as you go, it starts to come together a little bit. So right now I'm working with the eyes a little bit. And again, I'd recommend, if you haven't seen the facial drawing videos, you should check those out here on thevirtualinstructor.com. Every once in a while you also need to step back and look at what you've done so far to see how things are working out for you. Alright, this is going to bring us to the end of part 1 of this video tutorial. I hope that you'll join us for part 2 of the oil portrait video.